NPP's post-election surprise. What Sagis did on election night. The 48 hours that allayed the fears. AKD's decision that upset all parties. Overflow of pain at Nalam Mawatha.
The leader, දේශයට මග කියන ප්‍රවෘත්ති පෙළගැස්ම.
NPP's post-election surprise. The just concluded election for the presidency has been a totally different one in the history of presidential polls. For the first time, a new force to reckon with emerged over the conventional political camps. People elected AKD against Ranil, who claimed ability, and Sagis, who said he was a winner. Towards the evening of election day, state intelligence hadn't anything good to report to Ranil. He had been at his Flower Road campaign office, waiting for the results to come. Their message took him to his official place at Paget Road, where he contemplated on the inevitable and came to a conclusion. Around 10 p.m, he spoke to his supporters and party leaders. "The people's choice doesn't tally with the result we expected. We should be careful from here on. Tell our supporters to stay calm. Whatever the result is, we should accept it," he said. Sometime later, Ranil decided to leave his position officially. He got on to preparing his final address to the nation. With support from PMD officials and the Secretariat staff, it was recorded at his official place. A large number of supporters were already gathered there, disregarding the curfew in force. He had consulted other candidates before enforcing it. In the meantime, NPP supporters demonstrated utmost discipline, restraint, and indifference to the looming victory. Since then, they have been proving their ability to remain calm and to act swiftly whenever the need arises. Ranil accepted defeat and instructed officials to return his offices and vehicles back to the state. Then, he discussed with other leaders what their next course of action should be. Some had hopes on a second preference count, but his advisers were of the view that things won't change by that either. What Sagis did on election night. For his part, Sagis remained in contact with his number 88, Ward Place main election office, while getting the latest results. Colombo, Gampaha and Kalutara results made him speechless. The south was no better. Glimpses of hope came with the results from Nuwara Eliya, Badula, north and the east, but other areas were not favourable to him either. By that time, his confidence had waned. He knew that even with a second preference count, he didn't stand any chance. On the 22nd, he met leaders of the SJB-led alliance affiliates. All of them repented over their disregard for the second preference matter. Lanka and some others predicted that the second preference of those who had voted for Ranil as well as Namal would have gone to Sagis. But leaving alone Namal's, a higher percentage of Ranil's went to AKD. Dulles said he was convinced of that from the Matara results. A senior told Sagis that most voters had not marked a second preference. Whom did he meet after the results? Sagis summoned his parliamentary group and thanked them for their commitment. He asked them to make a study of where they had gone and done wrong and make their suggestions for future use. Later in the day, he met electoral organisers too. Sagis' reaction to calls for announcement boycott. Sagis, too, was invited by the Election Commission to the occasion of official announcement of the results. As he was preparing to leave, some, including Ajith, asked him not to go, but he insisted that he should be there to congratulate the winner in the name of democracy. So he went ahead with what he intended to do. Who was the first to address AKD as His Excellency? AKD made a speech, one that totally differed from what he used to. He thanked all officials and candidates in his short speech. Sagis, too, addressed the audience. He was the first to address AKD as His Excellency. He made it a very friendly, meaningful and brief one. The 48 hours that allayed the fears. Within 48 hours, noticeable changes took place in the country. After his swearing in, AKD was able to dispel certain doubts over the JVP's revolutionary politics. In the meantime, officials and advisers to the ministries coming under the president as well as at the presidential secretariat returned their official vehicles. AKD also dissolved parliament. AKD's decision that upset all parties. With that, All the parties started elaborating on what they should do at the upcoming general election. Except for the NPP, all others are facing a serious setback. The once powerful UNP is in a sorry state of affairs. The SLPP fared no better, unable even to poll 3% of the votes. Dinesh, Prasanna, Fonseca, Rajitha, Mahindananda, Abe Gunawardena, Weerawansa and Gamampila gave the impression of game-changing key political figures. They came to nothing with the election outcome, say the critics. Overflow of pain at Nelam Mawatha. Following an unpleasant defeat, the SLPP met at the Nelam Mawatha office, with Mahinda in the chair. Only 3 out of the 26 MPs who remain with the party were absent. Chamal, Janaka and Gamlath didn't attend. Making an assessment of the political situation, General Secretary Kariyawasam said their margin of defeat was unbelievable. Namal said that first of all, they should inquire as to why people rejected them so much. Our choice of Ranil at a decisive moment distanced us from them. We should rectify our mistakes, he said. Then, they discussed the general invitation coming out for a combined opposition. A senior noted that although AKD won with 42% of the votes, the opposition still has a 58% majority. It won't be difficult to gain power if we correct ourselves, he said. But there was stiff opposition to a union with others. Namal said the people have already given them a signal that it was wrong to join with those who differ in policies. The party is now rid of those labelled as thieves. We shouldn't accept them back, he said. The meeting ended with unanimous approval to his proposal to continue as the SLPP without joining any others. Hand Party gets stranded. The SLFP and SLPP groups that supported Ranil are now faced with a very big setback. His inner circle members calculated that accepting those SLPPs labelled as the corrupt had been a main reason for his defeat. They are to be blamed for the losses in Gampaha, Kalutara, Matara, Gale, Ratnapura and Kandy. Those from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party too were faulted similarly. Lanza's new alliance members met at a place in Colombo Central last week. Among those present were Siripala, Yapa and Prema Jayantha. A senior said they had nothing left to do if the people thought like that. He said he had intentions of retiring from politics. Another said in agreement that they had no journey forward with hatred and vengeance. Prema Jayantha calmed down Siripala and Yapa, saying that time corrected it whenever people went wrong. They will understand the truth as time passes by, he said. It was agreed that the opposition should unite to counter AKD, who secured a total of votes less than a combined opposition would have polled. But none had any idea how to go about doing that. Some UNP big shots too met at a place in Colombo where a possible united opposition was discussed at length. Some said they had only one solution, that is to join with the SJB, give Sagis the leadership and contest under the elephant symbol. Others disagreed, asking as to why they should change their leader and insisting that their party should not fall prey to Lucky's tactics. They said talks should continue in the remaining period of 50-odd days. Who will pay for having supported Ranil? As has been pointed out by Leader TV, those who had supported Ranil to govern in the past 2 years are in the worst crisis. They are now divided into several camps. Ranil was joined by more than 100 MPs from the Rajapaksas, but people didn't accompany them to his side. While some say they should be retained for the parliamentary polls, others want a union with the SJB. So, Ranil tasked Ruwan with negotiating with Sajith's party. Also, Wajira and Sagala have been told to speak to trophy and chair alliances. The decisive round of talks happened on the 27th. Ranil meets SJB at Ruwan's place and take crucial decisions. Ranil too was there at the talks with the SJB's Maduma Bandara and Lucky at Ruwan's place on Friday afternoon. They reached preliminary agreement on facing the upcoming election. Ruwan will lead the campaign from the UNP, with the SJB duo promising to cooperate with him. Telephone was mooted as their symbol. Nothing about Ranil's stepping down from the leadership was discussed there. Lucky described how they could gain power if they contested together. Both agreed not to give nominations to anyone accused of corruption or fraud. Trophy discarded. gas cylinder. Chosen SJB opponents in the UNP came to know of those decisions, and immediately Sagala summoned Mahindananda and Duminda and decided to make a game plan. At 4 p.m. on Friday, Ranil met with all the parties that were in his government. It was decided to contest under the gas cylinder symbol, together with trophy and chair alliances. With that decision, the trophy alliances hierarchy met later in the night and agreed to use gas cylinder as the symbol. Anuradha was given the job of drafting a letter to the Election Commission to inform it about the change in the symbol. What happened to Anuradha? By the time Anuradha took the letter to the Commission, Ravi K's Swan Party members had already handed over a letter asking that they be given the gas cylinder symbol. Now, Ranil's decision is due on Saturday. Another trick by Lucky. Lucky is at talks to accept some corrupt free seniors from the chair symbol party and give them nominations. Among them are said to be a trio from Hambantota, Gampaha and Kurunagala. So, a clear idea of the shape of the alliances getting formed to contest the parliamentary polls can be had by this weekend. That's it for today.
The leader, දේශයට මග කියන ප්‍රවෘත්ති පෙළගැස්ම.